Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 48 years ago, the Supreme Court created a right to abortion that had never before existed, that had never received a vote from the American people, that could never have been imagined by the drafters of the Constitution. As Justice Thomas recently wrote, the Supreme Court, quote, created the right to abortion out of whole cloth, without a shred of support from the Constitution's text. Since that tragic decision, over 62 million unborn children have lost their lives. That's 62 million little boys and little girls who never got the chance to breathe a breath of fresh air, never got to laugh, never got to play, never got to grow up to be scientists, to be inventors, to be athletes, to be poets, to be artists. 62 million souls that never got the chance to live their own unique lives. Protecting human life is the central responsibility of the law. And yet those who are most vulnerable, the unborn, are completely unable to speak for themselves. As Ronald Reagan once quipped, I've noticed that everyone who is for abortion has already been born. Thankfully, across the country, state legislatures are taking significant and important steps to protect unborn life. Since 2019, 13 states, for example, have banned abortions at 6 weeks based on the presence of a fetal heartbeat. Just last month, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas signed a bill banning abortion after the detection of fetal cardiac activity. Several other states have passed so-called trigger laws that would ban abortion if the Supreme Court ever returns to the original meaning of the Constitution and overturns Roe. I've been proud to stand for life throughout my career and strongly support laws that protect life. At the same time, I understand that abortion is a deeply personal issue on which passions run high, and that state laws protecting life from conception or from the presence of a heartbeat are controversial. But many state laws protecting life, laws that protect unborn life from the most inhumane abuses and atrocities, should be completely uncontroversial. I want to highlight 3 examples of these common sense laws. First are laws that protect infants who are born alive, who are breathing and crying outside the womb after surviving an attempted abortion procedure. This year alone, the states of Alabama, Kentucky, South Dakota, and Wyoming have passed laws requiring physicians to provide medical care to these infants, because protecting a child who is born alive shouldn't be even remotely controversial. Second, are laws that protect unborn children from being killed by horrific dismemberment abortions. These abortions, known as dilation and evacuation or D&E abortions, are horrendous. They have no place in civilized society. In these abortions, a physician cuts and rips apart the unborn child's body and extracts piece by piece, arm by arm, leg by leg, what moments before had been a living human being. The unborn child dies the same way as an adult would die who had been dismembered, by bleeding to death as his or her body is torn apart. If an individual murdered an animal in this way, tearing apart a kitten or a puppy, everyone would understandably be horrified and demand that individual be prosecuted. How can it be that unborn children should be protected less than animals? Third, are laws that protect unborn children from being killed because of their immutable characteristics, such as race, sex, or disability status. These are anti-eugenics laws, plain and simple. Right now, 67% of babies prenatally diagnosed with Down syndrome in the United States are aborted. That's sickening. And it harkens back to the ugly eugenics legacy of Planned Parenthood's founder, Margaret Sanger, who pointed to that as a positive feature of abortion with truly sickening candor. All of these are common sense laws, laws that every American should be able to support. But today's elected Democrats are so radical, so hostile to unborn life, that they not only oppose these laws, they are working to protect these inhumane acts. Senator Blumenthal's bill, the misleadingly named Women's Health Protection Act, would make sure that physicians can refuse medical treatment to infants who survive an abortion. It would make sure that unborn children can be aborted by tearing them limb from limb. And it would make sure that unborn children diagnosed with Down syndrome can be terminated because of their disability. This is inhumane. It goes much further than even the deeply mistaken pro-abortion cases from the Supreme Court. And I want to be very clear that Senator Blumenthal's bill isn't simply a codification of Roe, an existing abortion law. Codifying existing law, I believe, would be a tremendous mistake, but it wouldn't immediately change anything. States would still be able to enact and enforce numerous laws protecting unborn life. Now, Senator Blumenthal's law is much more extreme. Even Roe recognized that states have an interest in protecting potential human life. It's what Senator Blumenthal's former boss, Justice Blackmun, wrote in the majority opinion. That's why the Supreme Court upheld a federal ban on partial birth abortion. It recognized the value of protecting unborn life. But Senator Blumenthal's bill completely disregards the value of human life in favor of unlimited abortion on demand. Under his bill, if a law addresses abortion and doesn't expand abortion rights, it's illegal. End of discussion. Courts can't even consider the fact that abortion ends the life of a human, living person, often in horrific, inhumane ways. We can't lose sight of what abortion really is. It is the ending of a human life. From the first moments in the womb, a child has his or her own unique DNA. After only a few weeks, an unborn child has a heartbeat. After only 20 weeks, an unborn child's toes and eyelids and fingernails have already formed. And that child can feel pain, excruciating pain. As I said at the opening, since Roe was decided, 62 million unborn children have lost their lives to abortion. For supporters of Senator Blumenthal's legislation, 62 million apparently isn't enough. For me, it is 62 million too many, because every life is a precious, unique gift from God. Today's elected Democrats have decided on the issue of abortion that nothing is too extreme for them. The position of virtually every elected Democrat in the United States Senate, including the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States, is they support unlimited abortion on demand up until the moment of birth, partial birth abortion, with taxpayer funding, with no parental consent and no parental notification. That is an extreme, radical view, far out of step with the American people. Indeed, just 9% of Americans agree with that radical view. 91% say that goes too far. But in today's Democratic Party, that is the orthodoxy, the radical orthodoxy that they would force on the entire country and that they would use to strike down any state laws protecting human life.